Hey, my name is King. On this episode of the Otaku Experience, the live-action One Piece series over at Netflix returns in 2025. Apparently, Boruto may become a seasonal anime when it returns, and a new Quintessential Quintuplet movie set after the series has been announced. All of that and much, much more. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Otaku Experience, the anime non-news show. We talk about the current goings-on in the anime and the manga industry with our very uneducated opinions. I am again your host, Israel. If you're wondering why I'm laughing, it's because I've tried to do this intro like 4 times and I kept messing it up. And so yeah, that's it. That's the one we're going with, is the one with me laughing. Anyways, I hope you guys had a good week. Hope you guys enjoyed the last episode. We got back into things with the rankings and the comments at the end. This time, we have something for the Goofy Woofy anime community, so we'll be able to talk about that when the time comes. But yeah, one thing that kind of happened, I guess not like fully breaking news, but kind of interesting, at least in my opinion. I'm looking at my graphics here. It looks wrong. This does not look right. But anyways, we have this. So the Spy X Family movie came out. I talked about it in the previous episode, and a Rotten Tomatoes score has come out for it. And look at this. It has a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 98% audience score. Like, this is doing really, really well. I, of course, really enjoyed the movie, as you guys know. I didn't love it, but I thought it was really, really, really good. Well, when I say I didn't love it, I guess that means I didn't think it was perfect, but I still really enjoyed the movie. And yeah, I'm excited to see more of Spy Family. And I'm happy that people are absolutely loving this thing. That's always great to see. But other than that, there's really no like little things to talk about. Sometimes I have some things that I want to mention before we get into the episode. Don't really have that this time. So we're going to get straight on in to into the episode here with our stories. And so starting off, we have this. So the live action One Piece came out last year to huge acclaim from critics and from audiences. It was the first and really only so far major live action anime success that we've had. And you know, this show doing so well caused a really big ripple effect in the Hollywood landscape, where now more and more studios are jumping onto the live action anime adaptation bandwagon. We have things like Naruto, One Punch Man, of course, One Piece Season 2. We have My Hero Academia coming out. Like, we have a ton of different things that studios, like, as soon as One Piece worked, like, really got into. And, you know, and not just new things, but things that kind of seem dead. You know, like projects that they had been trying to do for years that really weren't coming together. After One Piece came out, those projects got reignited and are now moving at like a pretty decent pace. And so we got a lot of good stuff coming out of One Piece. I am a little bit scared, and I've mentioned that before. We talked about last time that the Boruto producers are really hoping that it's going to be a cinematic universe, which is really scary when it's just one film and it hasn't even come out yet. So it's like, all right, slow down a little bit. But, you know, One Piece itself still really worked. And so I'm excited for season 2 of One Piece. And they actually revealed the release date. Well, I don't know if we got an official release date. We kind of just got a release area. And it's actually not that far off. It's coming out next year. This comes to us from Anime Trending. And they say, Deadline has confirmed that the upcoming season of Netflix's One Piece live action series is set to be released sometime in 2025, with filming and production expected to begin in June 2024, which, you know, it's essentially May. So basically a month, maybe a little over a month from now, they'll actually be shooting season 2. Joey Traits, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, co-producer. I assume that's the Disney Plus series, not the other movies. Has also been confirmed to be joining the second season as writer, executive producer, and co-showrunner with Matt Owens from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Luke Cage writer. Steve Maida, who developed the series with Owens and served as co-showrunner in the first season, will remain as an executive producer. Okay, so he's still going to be involved, but they're just switching out him for this Joey Traits guy who did the... who helped out with the Percy Jackson live action show over at Disney Plus, which actually got some really good reactions and reception there too. So that's pretty good. And then that's it. I mean, then they just talk about like the synopsis and things like that. But I mean, that's pretty cool. Look, we already know that Oda, I blanked on his name for a second. We all know that Oda is going to be heavily involved because he was heavily involved in the first season, and that proved to be extremely successful. So stands to reason that he'll do it again. If it worked the first time, they'll do it again. And they have gotten rid of, well, I guess they didn't get rid of, but he's moved on to a different role in the show. And now they have a new writer co-writing with the other writer, and I assume Oda will still be very heavily involved in all of it. Oda would basically essentially be a writer at this point. And overall, I'm excited. I mean, the Percy Jackson show, I never saw it on Disney Plus, but I mean, it had amazing. Well, I don't know about amazing, but it had really solid and really good reviews and reactions. So that bodes well. And from what I know, I've read, I think the first book of Percy Jackson. I watched the original movies and I saw all the trailers for the new one. The tones, they're not 1-to-1, but they're not like super duper far off. I mean, I think, and I don't know as much about One Piece as I do about Percy Jackson, so I don't know if One Piece gets kind of as serious as Percy Jackson does. I know that One Piece is a lot more of just a comedic and action show, whereas Percy Jackson can get into that drama side of things at times. And so it'll just be interesting to see how all of this pans out in the second season. But anyways, guys, the One Piece live action show season 2 is coming in 2025. Are you excited? Let me know your thoughts on that. All right, we're gonna move on into the next one here. And this next one actually makes me really excited because it's not something I've ever been interested in talking about, like ever. But now I'm interested in it. Okay, so Studio Parrot is one of the most well-known anime studios, especially of recent memory, for doing things like Black Clover, Bleach. They're currently doing 1,000 Year Blood War, and probably most notably, most recently, is Boruto. And Boruto went on hiatus, I believe, last year, and hasn't come back. And we were supposed to get like Naruto episodes, but if my memory serves, those Naruto episodes, they were like, hey, we're going to work on this a little bit more. It'll come out later. And so we didn't get the anniversary episodes on the anniversary. So we basically just got no Naruto content at all last year. But, Boruto is going to be coming back. They did the Blue Vortex, if I believe that's the name, arc in the manga. And it's about time that they can start adapting that for the anime. And it looks like, according to the studio, this might become a seasonal anime rather than a year-round anime like it was before. This comes to us from CBR. It says, many of the fans of the Naruto anime franchise have long been vocal about one specific issue that has plagued Boruto Next Generations since its inception: the excessive number of filler episodes. This is a direct result of being a year-round anime, but the new studio in charge of Boruto, Studio Parrot, may be bringing about change the show needs to survive and even thrive. As per a recent interview with Comic Natalie via ScreenRant, Studio Parrot may be changing the release format for Boruto The Next Generations once it returns from its hiatus. Despite the extreme number of filler episodes it has churned out thus far, the Naruto sequel is beloved by many who have been anxiously waiting for its return since the release of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex manga. Parrot, previously inspired by the success of animation studio Ufotable with Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba or their own Bleach Thousand Year Blood War, is considering switching Boruto from a yearly running anime to a seasonal one. With Demon Slayer, the success is self-evident as it has been able to maintain a strong and dedicated fan base while only releasing one new season every several months, as well as having released 3 movies. 1 movie and then 2 stupid things that called themselves movies, but they were just episodes put together. And if the new one, because I didn't see the new one because I was so burnt by the last one. If the new Hashira training movie was like the last one and it had the episode credits in it, like pausing the movie, like the movie. Oh, don't even know. Demon Slayer's had 1 movie with a 4th season on its way. Demon Slayer is especially beloved by fans for its vibrant animation and thrilling action sequences. Meanwhile, Bleach Thousand Year Blood War was the franchise's triumphant return to the screen after a 10-year hiatus, and that season's been freaking fantastic. Fans immediately noted the quality of the animation was impeccable, as was the story, pivotal fight scenes, and more. This has made plenty believe that the seasonal approach may be the future of anime, as it allows studios to properly allocate time, funds, and artists to carefully craft new episodes instead of being forced to create long stretches of filler while waiting for more chapters to adapt. Other anime like Blue Lock have adopted a similar approach. And our last one here, Parrot President Michiyuki Honma recently spoke about the Demon Slayer effect, stating, "I think Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba was a major turning point for the anime industry. It was a high-quality work that took a lot of time and a generous budget to make, and it was big when it aired, attracting people from a wide range of age groups. I watched it. Before and after Demon Slayer was announced, I really felt like we had to change the way we created things. Furthermore, other studios were releasing high-quality works on a similar scale, and in Japan, there was this environment where these could be watched on commercial television. This would be a major change for the anime industry, as it shows like Boruto and Black Clover have long been the dominant archetype for production and release. However, strikes and other issues at animation studios may indicate that it is indeed time for a new structure." Okay. A lot there. I'm a little upset because they did a little bit of my commentary that I was going to say on it in the article. So very upset at UCBR. But yeah, look. So Boruto is kind of infamous for this. And Black Clover to an extent too. Black Clover doesn't have near as much filler as Boruto, but Black Clover still has a lot. Like Black Clover, you'll skip like 8 episodes. Like if you do a filler list, like I do when I watch these really long shows, I did that with the Bleach too. You'll like just skip 8 episodes. You know what I mean? Like it's like, dude, just 2 months, like because it's airing weekly. Like 2 months of this was just nothing that mattered, and they were just doing it to appease the anime audience and just have something going on the TV until they had more to adapt for the next arc. And the same was true for Boruto, for Bleach, for a lot of these year-round shows that constantly go. Even One Piece, to an extent, has filler. I mean, it's obviously not as much just because of how long everything is in One Piece. That they still have filler, but even like 100 episodes of filler is not a bunch for One Piece because of how long One Piece is. But yeah, so like they were saying on here, because they rudely stole my commentary, this would be better for everybody involved. It'd be better for the fans. They get a better show or a better looking show and less filler. So yeah, it just would be a better show. It's better for the people involved because they can actually spend more time on a certain concentrated amount of episodes rather than just consistently like we're working on a new episode. And instead they can focus on just like an arc and then, hey, okay, that season's done. That season's out. Now we're going to start this. You know, it's like you can kind of finish something. And if all the priority is on this one season before they move on to the next episode, because there's not something that's airing week to week to week to week to week, you know, that product is going to be better. It's going to be better for the people involved. It's going to be better for the audience watching. Everybody, I think, is just going to be happier overall. And Boruto will just become more popular. You'll get a better reception. People might be like, oh, Boruto's good now? Okay, let me watch, you know, let me watch it. Let me catch up. Let me pull up a filler list and binge all the important episodes, catch up, and then watch the seasonal Boruto now because it's actually stuff that's important for the story. And most people, at least that I know, that I've heard, if they didn't like Boruto, it was because of all the filler. Like they were just like, it was like a waste of time. I'm just wasting my time watching this stuff. And the Boruto anime original stuff, the filler stuff is just not as good as the manga. So it's like sometimes you can have filler episodes and they're really enjoyable episodes. And sometimes you get filler episodes that literally feel like filler. They feel like a waste of time. And Boruto's episodes felt like that. And but the episodes that were actually based on the source material and actually did the arcs that were in there, those were the arcs that were the most popular. And you had the really diehard Naruto and Boruto fans sticking through all the filter to get to that. And then you had regular old people like me who just stopped watching, or who just didn't watch at all because they heard of how bad it was. But yeah, I mean, look, I think this is better for everybody involved. I think this would just be better. It would just be better. I hope that they do this. I hope that this isn't just something that they're talking about. I hope that this is something that they actually go and do. Because if this is the case, I would actually be interested to go and check out Boruto. And so I hope that they do this, or else I'm probably just never going to watch Boruto. And so that's just going to be how it is. But anyways, guys, for those of you that do watch Boruto, because there were a few of you when it went on hiatus that talked about Boruto, what are your thoughts on this potentially becoming a seasonal anime? Are you for that? Are you against that? Just let me know what your thoughts are on that. I'm not really one to talk because, like I've said before, I've never seen Boruto. All right, if I'm being totally honest, one of my favorite anime of the past few years is the Quintessential Quintuplets. Y'all can hate on me all you want. I have a Nino figure back there. Sue me. I don't know. Now, I enjoyed the first season. I thought it was nice trash. And then the second season, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like actually quality. And it was like one of my top 5 favorite anime that year. And then the movie came out to wrap it all up. And I knew in advance that he chose Yotsuba. And I wasn't really happy with that choice because I was Nino gang all the way. He didn't choose Ichika. So technically, so we all win because she's the worst choice. But he didn't choose Nino, so sad times. But so I accepted ahead of time that he chose Yotsuba, and I was like, okay, well, let's just see how the story goes about this, because it might happen in a way that I'm like, okay, yeah. And it did do that. I watched the movie, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can see why he would choose Yotsuba. I wish there was a little bit more of it. Like they did a little bit of a flashback, and he's explaining why he chose her. And I was like, okay, that's cute, that's sweet. I wish that was a little bit more of that was apparent, so that I could see more of that in the moment. Not that necessarily that he was going to choose her, but to see more of her effect on him, because he chose her because, she inspired him, and, she was the best for him. Like he felt at his best with her. And I wish I just saw more of that throughout the show. Maybe it was in the manga, but I didn't read the manga. I watched the show. And so the movie ended, but overall, I didn't like the movie. And that was because, not what happens, but it was because of how the story was told. I just didn't appreciate the structure. I thought it was boring. That movie was like 2 hours and 15 minutes. I was like, dude, what is going on? And yeah, I thought it was a overly long movie that was just drawn out, wasted too much time. With a really long epilogue at the end. And I just wasn't a huge fan of the movie, but I didn't mind the choice. So that being said, they announced today, when I'm filming this Sunday, they announced that there is going to be a new Quintessential Quintuplets movie set after the finale. Now, as far as I know, there is nothing after the finale. Like the movie ends where the manga ends. So we're going to go through this together because this is a breaking story and I don't know anything about this. Okay. So if I can pull up my story, I put it on the wrong window. Okay, here we go. So the Quintessential Quintuplet series. Oh, this comes to us from Anime Corner, by the way. The Quintessential Quintuplet series is getting a new anime movie project that will cover the events set after the wedding and Futaro's honeymoon. So we're going to get a full-on, like, married couple romance, which, props to that because most romance anime end after the couple gets together anyways. So that's good. I like the epilogues. Negi Haruba will supervise the movie. The announcement was made during the 5th anniversary event of the anime held at Yokohama Arena, where the main cast was present. Then they have the cast. In addition to the new anime project, the Quintessential Quintuplets is also getting a new light novel and series which will depict the lives of the girls not shown in the original manga. Hajime Asano will be writing the novel, as is supervised by Negi Haruba, the manga's author. Check out the commemorative video for the 5th anniversary. And then they release a little thing, and we're not going to watch that because of copyright. So, okay. So, on the bright side, this is being supervised by the author. And so this is good because I like the author to be involved because I think that the author did really good stuff. I just think that the movie, and maybe the movie would have just, like, literally, if they didn't change anything and they just cut it up into episodes, maybe I would have enjoyed it more. Maybe it just didn't work as a movie structure, but as a show structure, it really worked. Because usually that happens where you have like the, well, I liked the Kaguya movie that came out last year, but was that last year or was that 2 years ago? But anyways, the Kaguya movie that came out, I really liked that movie, but you could tell where the episode breaks were when it was going to air on TV later. And the same thing was true for the Quintessential Quintuplets movie. And so maybe it would have just worked better, like a placebo effect, just seeing the opening and the ending and then having to click on the next episode would have made it register in my head differently versus a theatrical motion picture, if I'm going to be all pretentious about it. But still, I like the author being involved. So far, the author is 2 out of 3 for me. I enjoyed season 1. I loved season 2. I didn't like season 3. It was like barely bad for me. It was, if I'm being honest, it was probably like average, but it was like barely bad. And so, 2 out of 3, I think we're still good. And I already bonus points for doing the epilogue of the couple of him and Yotsuba. I assume like all the girls are still going to be there and be involved, and it'll be all weird and stuff because they'll be flirting with him while he's freaking married and sleeping with their sister. That'll just be weird. But anyway, well, I guess it won't be. Well, no, yeah, it'll be weird. No, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go because all the girls kind of chose different career paths towards the end of the anime, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And we did have a time skip in the epilogue of the movie to see a little bit of what everyone was doing, and so I guess we'll just see more of that. And it is a movie, so this will be a theatrical thing, and I doubt that this is going to come out anytime this year. You're probably looking at a summer or a fall 2025 release, I would assume, at the earliest spring. I doubt they're going to surprise us in winter. At the earliest spring, and if it comes out in spring, that means we'll probably get it. When I say we, I mean Americans. We'll get it probably in fall, and if it comes out in fall, we'll probably get it in late winter or spring 2026. So for those of us in America, this is still probably a little under 2 years off, but for people in Japan, it's way closer. It's probably, around a year and a half at most off. And so that's cool that it's going to be coming out. I am excited. I was just not ready for this news because usually this stuff doesn't happen. Usually, like I would have expected more manga chapters to be written and then them announce it. But they're announcing a movie and then they're announcing a new light novel. And is the light novel going to cover the events of the movie, or is the movie going to happen and then the light novel is a sequel to that? Like, I don't know. This is really interesting. This is really fascinating. I'm all hyped up because this is a new story that I knew nothing about before I started looking at stories for today. I'm really excited about this, so my brain's not working properly. What are you guys thinking about this? I know you guys probably don't love quintuplets as much as I love quintuplets, but, it's okay. You're allowed to be wrong. But anyways, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments down below. All right. Now, this next one is really cool because it actually kind of applies to what we were talking about for a while earlier this year, which was the awards race. So we had the awards race between The Boy and the Heron and Suzume for anime. The Boy and the Heron got the Oscar nomination and Suzume did not. But The Boy and the Heron was not nominated for Best Picture or Best International Feature because I don't believe it was eligible to even be nominated for International Feature. But the Oscars have changed that rule in a slew of changing rules and changing how things are going to happen in the next Oscars. We have this, and this comes to us from Anime News Network, that says the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences announced on Monday that the 97th Academy Awards for next year will allow films submitted for the International Feature Film category to also be submitted for the Animated Feature Film category, provided that the film meets the eligibility requirements for both categories. The International Feature Films category's new eligibility period for initial theatrical screening is now November 1st, 2023 to September 30th, 2024. The awards are also adding the Dallas-Fort Worth area to the list of qualifying cities in the United States that a film must have at least 1 week theatrical to run in to qualify for awards consideration. Hey, I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In addition to Los Angeles County, the city of New York, the Bay Area, Chicago, Miami, and Atlanta, the awards are expanding the theatrical eligibility requirements for its Best Picture category. Now they require an expanded 7-day run in 10 of the top 50 U.S. markets, no later than 45 days after the film's initial release, with non-U.S. territories accounting for the 2 of the 10 aforementioned markets, provided that those non-U.S. markets include the top 15 international theatrical markets, plus the home territory for the film. Films with an initial theatrical run late in the year will later expanded 7-day theatrical run as described above. After January 10th, 2025, after the award's nominal initial screening eligibility period of January 1st to December 31st, 2024, must also submit release plans to the Academy for verification with the run completed no later than January 24th, 2025. The rule changes are part of a larger slew of changes for the 97th Academy Awards, which affect multiple categories of the awards. I know we're thinking, Israel, why did you read all of that? Only the first half of that affected what we were talking about, because I wanted to, okay? So this is interesting. So this means that in the future, you could have an anime film be the film that the country chooses. I could be wrong, but I believe that the way that the international film category works is that you have an entire country basically back one movie, and then they push that film to be nominated, and then that film that gets nominated basically represents that entire country. And so usually you'll have, if an anime film is nominated in the animated feature category, you will also have a Japanese film that's not animated in the international category, and those two are not related. Like, they have one that gets nominated for the animated category because it qualifies, and then they have one that gets nominated for the international. Now you can have crossover. Now you can have one being nominated in both categories. So, like, for example, last year, or I guess I say last year, but it was like a couple months ago, The Boy and the Heron not only could have been nominated for animated, but could have also been nominated for international. Like, Japan as a whole could have gotten behind The Boy and the Heron to be their representative nominee at the Oscars. In which case, that would have been interesting to see that go up against The Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a Fall, because those were the two frontrunners. So I think that that's really interesting. I think that that's cool. Means just more stuff for anime. I do like this, not just anime, but animated films in general. I do like this because it shows that they're, at least the newer people that are coming into the Academy, because we're seeing this stuff happen more and more. Animated films are starting to be taken more and more seriously as the newer, I don't know how to say this without like sounding rude. I'm not trying to be rude, but as the older crop of the Academy dies off, and as the newer crop of the Academy comes in, because you have new actors and producers and stuff every year that get added into the Academy, and then you have people who pass away, and then they leave the Academy, and so the Academy, continues to evolve because you have new people coming in that, for them, like this newest generation really takes anime and animation seriously. Like, animation is like on par, if not surpassing live action stuff in this current generation. And so it's nice to see that the Academy is starting to reflect that in a way. And I think that that's really cool. I hope to see an anime film at some point get nominated for the international category. That would be super duper cool. But anyways, not like a super fun story, but just a really cool one that I think is exciting and is just made me feel good, seeing that, animated films are now, they're being treated more and more seriously as time goes on, which is really, really cool for me because I love animated films so much. That's basically it. That's all I have to say. What are your thoughts on this? I know you probably don't care. I know that most of you guys probably skipped the story. But anyways, if you're still watching, what do you think? Now, time to get into the best story of the day. Okay. All right. Hot take. It's the best story. Arknights Season 3, baby. We won! All right. So Arknights Season 1, Prelude to Dawn. was my favorite anime of 2022. Now, they had a sequel in 2023, Arknights, Paris and Frost. I did not like it as much. I still thought it was good. By the time it ended and it all came together, I was like, okay. About, like 4 or 5 episodes in, I was like, what are they doing? But then episode 8 happened and it all came together and I was like, okay, cool. It just seemed really disjointed, and it still does, even in hindsight. But it all came together. At first, it seemed like a bunch of stuff that didn't matter to each other was happening. Like, I was like, okay, this plotline. And then they were like, now this plotline and this plotline. And I was like, okay, what's all happening? And then by the time you get to the final 2 episodes, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Whereas I felt that the first season was a lot more of just a cohesive flow that was just very natural and just being like, okay, and this, and this, and this. And you were like, okay, cool. And this second season was, So anyways, but I still enjoyed the season overall, and they announced season 3, which I'm really excited about. And this comes to us from Anime Trending, where it says this. If I can pull it up here. Here we go. The production of the next season of Arknights anime adaptation has been announced. The new series is titled Arknights Rise from Ember, contrasting with 2023's Arknights Perish in Frost. You get it? You perish in frost. Like you die, you perish in frost, and then you rise in ember. It's pretty okay. I thought it was cool. Arknights Perish in Frost aired during the fall 2023 anime season, while the first season, Arknights Prelude to Dawn, ran during fall 2022. The Yo-Star Pictures produced anime is based on Hypergriff's free-to-play tower defense gacha game for iOS and Android, which was the first released in China in 2019. And launched worldwide in 2020. Crunchyroll streamed the show. Okay, so it's not a whole bunch of stuff. They gave us a little bit of a teaser, but it's all old footage. And then I think at the very end, there's new dialogue. But nothing really consequential for us to talk about. So, dude, I'm so excited. They don't say what season this is coming out. I didn't see anything. I assume that this is going to be this year. Is it? No, because they announced, I don't know. It's either going to be this year in fall or it's going to be next year in winter. So it's going to be a minute. If I were them, I would have put the Fire show in summer, but they announced it too late for that unless its surprise comes out. I can go to my anime list real quick and see if there's a release date, but usually if there's a release date, they put it on the article. So I don't think there is one. Arknights Rise from Ember. Yeah, no release date. So if my prediction, and I'm right like 70% of the time, if my prediction is correct, I think this is probably going to be next year. Fall at the earliest, but I doubt it. Last time they announced a show, I think it aired, or I think they announced it in the summer or the fall of 2022, like right as the show ended. And then it came out like in summer, like it took like 9 months for it to come out. So if that's the case, this is going to be a winter show, which, sad times, I'll have to wait. But hey, you know what? It's really freaking good. I hope that this next season is a lot more like the first, where it just feels more cohesive. Because if I'm being honest, like I said, that first season was my favorite anime of 2022. You can fight me on that. I loved it. I don't know what was about it, but I was just like, dude, this is the best thing. It was like a 9.5 out of 10 for me. And then season 2 was like a 6.5, 7. So not as good, but it was okay. It was decent. It was solid. A nice emotional ending, and ready to go into this third season. And I'm excited. I'll stop talking about it because I know y'all don't care, but I'm really excited. I took off there was a Dragon Ball story, or was it Dragon Ball? What was the show? See, I don't care because I was talking about Arknights, but there was a show on here that I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I took it off because I saw the Arknights headline and I was like, oh, we're talking about 5 stories. Arknights going to be one of them. But anyways, what are your thoughts on Arknights? All 2 of you who watch Arknights as well. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But anyways, guys, with all that stuff out of the way, it's time for us to get into everyone's favorite part of the show, the Goofy Woofy anime community. All right, so this picture says it all. So the Malaysian government is in talks. What is this ad doing on my screen? Get out of here. The Malaysian government is in talks with the Jujutsu Kaisen publisher for the rights to a Kento Nanami memorial. Okay, so spoilers for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Kento dies, and the Kwanton Beach is where I believe is where he wants to go, like where he wants to live. That's like his dream place. And so since he died in the anime, like people are like, we want this memorial. And the government is actually doing it. Like they're actually like trying to do it. They don't know if they can do it, but they're trying. And that's the story. All right, moving on. We're going to get into the audience rankings now. We're going to start with the anime trending audience rankings, and start with this. So number 1 was Whisper Me, a Love Song. Number 2 was Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation, Season 2, Part 2. In third place, Konosuba God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, Season 3. Fourth was Date Alive 5. Fifth was Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. Sixth place, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Season 3. Number 7 was Kaiju number 8. Blue Archive, the animation, was at number 8. Number 9 was Windbreaker. And number 10 was Spice and Wolf, the new show, the reboot, the new one. I don't know. I don't want to say Spice and Wolf because it might get confusing. But anyways, then we have the Anime Corner rankings, which we have at number 1, Konosuba Season 3. At number 2, Date Alive 5. At number 3, Windbreaker. At number or Unnamed Memory, sorry. At number 4, Windbreaker. At number 5, Mission Yozakura Family. At number 6, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Season 3. At number 7, Spice and Wolf Merchant Meets the Wise Wolf. At number 8, Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation, Season 2, Part 2. At number 9, An Archdemon's Dilemma, How to Love Your Elf Bride. And at number 10, Delicious in Dungeon. And those are all of the audience rankings for this past week. And now we're going to round out the show with our last thing, and that is your comments and questions from the last episode of the show. If you want to get your comment or question read by me on the next episode of the Otaku Experience, all you have to do is go into the comment section down below and literally leave a comment on like anything, and I'll answer it. I would prefer it to be somewhat related to like anime and movie stuff. But if you want to ask me like how my dog is doing, hey, you know what? I'll answer it. But anyways, we're going to get started here with Italiano Straw Hat. Hollywood needs to stay away from Japanese pop culture, or rather, Japan needs to be obsessively protective of its manga and anime IP because the corpos in the West want nothing more than to wrestle full ownership of it away from the creators and manipulate it to be unrecognizable. I agree with that to an extent. I think I agree with the ownership part. Like they'll want like full on rights and they'll like want to own it the same way like Disney owns Marvel and like Warner Brothers owns DC, things like that. Then I think I disagree with the manipulated part. I mean, we can have bad adaptations. And we can have stuff that doesn't really resemble the stuff, but I don't know if it's like an intentional like bad thing they're trying to do. I think they're just trying to do their best and they just don't know how to do it because they're freaking producers and studio heads and they need those creatives there. So I think if we have stuff like One Piece where Oda clearly still has the rights and Oda is clearly like the one in charge on that set, but he's willingly giving authority to these other people who know how to do live action stuff better. I think we have that happy medium where everybody's working on their heights. You know, like Oda he knows the story better than anyone else. So he's going to work in the story department. He's going to hire live action TV writers who work in Hollywood to make sure it works in that area while it also stays truthful to the source material. So they kind of balance each other out. And then he's also going to be very involved in the casting process, in the costume design, the production design, everything like that, but still going to hire all these things. I think you need to have that proper balance in order to do that. But yeah, I do worry about, like a studio, like basically like, like let's say like Universal just buys Naruto and then they just own Naruto forever. Stuff like that I would get a little bit scared about. So I do agree with that. Japan needs to be, y'all can't even see this. Why didn't y'all tell me? I do agree that Japan needs to be extremely protective, but I don't know if I agree with like just not like Hollywood just not doing anything at all. I think there are limits, and I think that there are nice boundaries, but I think like going all the way to that extreme and being like, yeah, we're just not going to do anything. I think that's a little scary. Then we have Psyche IP 1N. Can the West and their companies just stay out of anime and manga in the East? They're just milking, and their fans are annoying. Well, I kind of like the same thing as before. I don't think that like Hollywood doing stuff is like inherently a bad thing. I think that it's, if they do it in a certain way, it's bad. Like if you do it in a way like the live action Death Note was, where that would be something like I would agree with Italiano Straw Hat, where that is something that is just completely unrecognizable. And it's almost like you should have just like made your own thing. Like, why are you trying to do this? But I think if there's a nice, healthy balance, I think that we'll be in decent territory. And we'll really know after the Naruto, the One Punch Man, and the My Hero Academia movie go out, the trajectory we're on, because those three are the ones in production, and those are three really big stuff. And if One Piece Season 2 doesn't work, I think we'll know that like that One Piece was just an anomaly. But if One Piece Season 2 continues to work, then then we might have more just like, see, this example over here at One Piece is clearly working, and we should try to do that. Bar Allen responds to Psyche IP 1N. Only an idiot would stay out of anime and manga, especially when they're outselling American comics. See, another aspect to this conversation, like, yeah, even though I don't think it's a problem, like, it's never going to happen. It's literally, there's never going to be a reality where America like sees anime and manga be super popular and they don't want a piece of it. That's never going to happen. And don't get it twisted. Like, I know some of them might not want to, like some of the really like auteur visionaries, really protective, they might not want this to happen, but a lot of anime, original anime creators, a lot of anime studios, a lot of writers, a lot of manga artists and stuff, they would love for there to be a live action Hollywood adaptation of their stuff. Are you kidding me? Like, dude, they would love that. I mean, obviously, assuming the best for everything, but they would love for that to happen. So I think that it's something that both parties want to do, and they just need to find a happy medium in the middle where each party is working on their best and hiding their worst aspects, or not hiding, minimizing their worst aspects. And I think that we'll have something good there. Chad Kakashi, there is a 0% chance of Naruto movies being good. I couldn't stand the One Piece live action. No way I'll be satisfied with the Naruto one. Okay. I will say this, and your opinion is completely valid. Just know that you are in the minority on the One Piece live action. Most people not just enjoyed it, but really enjoyed it. And so you might not like the Naruto one. I don't know if I'll like the Naruto one. I'm getting scared with the way that things are going with who they're hiring and that. But I don't know if there's a 0 chance of the Naruto movies being good. I think if they focus on just trying to make a cinematic universe than trying to make a good movie, like if that's their main focus, then yeah, I would say it's like under a 50% chance that movie's good. But if they keep their focus right and they have a good director, not a big fan of the writers, but and then they kind of mimic the One Piece style of production, I think you're looking at right now it's literally a coin flip. Like, I don't know. I cannot predict either way. I need to see some production photos. I need to see some trailers. Like right now, it's like a 50-50 chance for me. Then we have Eli Craig 2601. Not to be a downer, but I really don't care for the live action anime adaptations. I haven't seen them all, but from what I have seen, they lack the spirit and the tone of the anime. Also, some of my favorite parts of anime can be executed way better in animation. They often just lack the soul and feel so corporate and not very sincere or passionate. And then it says read more there, but I have it over here that I can see the rest. I do think making it in live action exposes more people to the anime, which is a great thing, but I find them extremely unnecessary. Okay. And that's actually a pretty decent take. I agree with most of that. Most live action anime adaptations, like most anime, I don't think should be live action adaptations, but I think there are some. I think One Piece is one that could work. Naruto is a little more, but it could work. Attack on Titan, I think, is something that could very well work in a live action format. Possibly even Demon Slayer. But then you get to some of the crazier ones, like if they announce like a Bleach one, I mean, maybe that could work, but I would get really nervous about a Bleach thing being announced, or like a Sword Art Online, or you know what I mean, like stuff like that. Would definitely, I would be like, no, just stick to the animation, or else it's either gonna be the most expensive project ever, or it's not gonna look good, or you're just not gonna be able to do as much as you could do because of how much it would cost to do the thing. And so I agree with that. And then for the soul aspect, I think that's true to an extent. And that just comes from, and this was something I found in One Piece. I found that the soul of One Piece was still there. As little as I know of the One Piece anime, and as little as I've read of the manga, that heart that I felt was there in the live action. But then you get to things like the live action Death Note, or stuff like that. And it's just like, this doesn't even feel nothing like it doesn't even resemble. Like the only thing here that even resembles Death Note is Ryuk. But everything else is like completely and utterly different. And so I think that it just has to do with, you need to have people who have a reverence for the source material, but aren't afraid to make it into something new while keeping it what it is still. Does that make sense? Like it needs to be very recognizably, let's My Hero Academia, for example. It needs to be very recognizably My Hero Academia, but it needs to be different, because if you just try to do the anime or the manga in live action, it's just not going to work. It has to be its own thing while still being very distinctly, okay, that's Deku. Okay, that's All Might. Like I can tell. Like, or okay, this plot, this feels like My Hero Academia. Whereas not every single thing one-to-one works. And I think this doesn't always work, but it's like an 80-20%, I think, maybe 70-30. But most of the time, having the creator at least involved, like not just like as a producer, but like involved, really helps. Like you feel the heart. And then sometimes you could have a bad thing where, like in the second live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, you could really feel the heart in there. But like you could tell they were passionate about what they were doing, but it just didn't turn out to be a good movie. So it's just really hard, and there's so many things that have to have this perfect balance in order for it to work. But and then our last one is from Aro Raplinks. I hope that I pronounced that right. I will have to come back to watch this. I have something to do, but I saw this pop up, so I'll watch later. Have a good like. Oh, thanks for the like, and I hope you came back to watch it later. And and guys, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Otaku Experience. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. And hey, if you want to keep up with me outside of this show, you can subscribe to me on my main YouTube channel, Kingtanic, where I make anime videos, but in a less serious and a professional way. You can also follow me on Instagram at Kingtanic. You can follow me on Twitter at Kingtanic Israel. And if you're new to the Burnettwork, consider sticking around. We have some great shows for you to watch almost every single day. And that's going to do it for me. I will see you guys next time.